But again, you see the writings of Paul, the epistles, they technically came or showed up before the Gospels of the four. You can look this all up. You don't believe me? Look it up. 1 Timothy 3:1, it says, this is a true saying, if a man desire the office of a bishop, he desired a good work. No known source. Like, you can't reference that. Where did he say that from? Who told him that? Jesus? Nobody saw that situation. And like I said, very similar to Maccabees. Same shit happened over there. Look, see what I mean? And now check this out where it gets even more interesting. So here we see, this is just like some Reddit stuff, right? I kind of check it out every now and then. But look at this. This is where it caught my attention. Let me go back up. It says here, Plato versus Paul, Paul versus Plato. Paul versus Plato, case one. Plato wrote in the Republic, but such as are true racers, arriving at the end, both receive the prizes and are crowned. Now, when I first read that, I was like, oh, fuck no, dude. Are you serious, bro? Like, oh my God. I was like, this is crazy. Yeah, you're going to read it. Paul wrote in 1 Corinthians 9:24, do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one gets a prize? Run in such a way as to get the prize. 1 Corinthians 9:24. It doesn't have a see, like this one, rise, break, nope, Ecclesiastes, nope, it doesn't even apply. It says, if you get tired in a race against people, how can you possibly run against horses? Nope, it doesn't apply, right? So there's no cross-referencing this verse whatsoever. But guess who said it? Plato. That's just the first case. Now, I've shared with you other things. We're going to go through this pretty quickly. Like I said, I got stuff to show you. But that's just the first case. Plato wrote let me see what that means. Okay, because I don't even know what that means. Phaedo is a dialogue written by Plato. Okay, sounds good. All right. And it says, to be carnally minded was death. Oh, shit. Bruh. Oh, my God.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Romans 8. Bro, listen, this is why I'm sharing this with you, because I really studied the New Testament. I liked it. I really liked it. Like the Old Testament, the Apocrypha, the New Testament, I liked it a lot. So when I started, and I knew that would be Paul, I was like, this sounds kind of Romanish and shit. But I have the Roman books. I didn't study their literature. But now I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. What? Wait till I show you who also helped the blind man, get his eyesight back, and who also helped the disabled to move again. And it wasn't Jesus. And it was historically written down in this same time frame between 60 AD to 70 AD.
Who are you?
To be carnally minded was death. Romans 8:6, the mind governed by the flesh is death, but the mind governed by the spirit is life and peace. You cannot cross-reference Romans 8:6. I'm going to, again, that'll take a little more time, but Romans 8:6, where's the cross-referencing? There's none. No Old Testaments here to cross-reference from. You see what I mean?
Bruh. Wait a minute. Who are you?
Right. Case number 3. Plato wrote, I am very far from admitting that he who contemplates existence through the medium of thought sees them only through a glass. Oh, this fucking blew my mind. Darkly, any more than we would see them in their working effects. And you guys, if you study the scriptures, and especially if you're like, New Testament, and you love Jesus, Messiah, Mashiach, all that stuff, right? That's for our sins and shit, then you know what that means. You know what he's saying right now, dude. I was like, nah, no way, dude. No way. Only through a glass darkly any more than we would see them in their working effects. Romans 1:13-12, which is one of the ones I liked a lot. It's like, nah, because we don't see things clearly right now, you know what I mean? But in time, when the Messiah comes back, we're going to see it all very clearly. There's no cross-reference for that verse. 1 Corinthians 13:12. Sorry, 1 Corinthians 13:12. It says, now we can see God is like a cloudy picture. Give me a cross-reference. No, judges can't fix it. Son of man, tell the people to follow story. No, you can't. You see what I mean? No Old Testament cross-referencing saying that Jesus told him to say that. No, Plato told Paul to say that. Okay? Because Paul, again, he was a Roman.
Who are you?
Plato wrote in the Citro. Then he ought not to relate. He says, Citro says, then we ought not to retaliate or render evil to anyone, whatever evil we may have suffered from him. 1 Thessalonians 5:15. Make sure that nobody pays back wrong for wrong, but always strive to do what is good for each other and everyone else. 1 Thessalonians 5:15. Where is he cross-referencing on that? Remember, again, if Jesus was here, they said he taught from the Old Testament. So if Paul was the only one that saw Jesus, where was he getting these words from? It must have been Jesus. And Jesus said he taught from the Old Testament. So why isn't Paul reflecting the Old Testament? Why is it complicated? So far, we haven't found one cross-reference. I'm not a Old Testament believer, like, I hate the New Testament. And no. And see, that's what I don't like about y'all, bro. Because you guys don't like, F the New Testament. Okay, I got a question about it. You know why y'all like that? Because you don't study it. You don't read it. So you can't teach against it. Or, if you wanted to teach for it, the point being is if you want to really prove a point, you got to know your enemy. You got to know exactly what that shit is saying. But if you're not willing to do it, then you're just going to be stuck in a game. Oh, well, this is what the New Testament said. And this is what the Old Testament said. And this is what the New Testament said. Well, this is what the Dead Sea Scrolls said. Well, I don't believe in Paul. I don't believe in Jesus. Well, why? Because Matthew. Okay, give me something else. You see, now as I'm giving you clarity, fam, sharing with you where Paul was getting these things, it now makes you wonder, why in the world would he be quoting Roman philosophy? No cross-referencing. I mean, maybe in this case, what? If thou meeteth an ox, but see, look, I'm doing it in King James, right? Translation. And it doesn't specify it. Here goes another one. Plato says this: there is a victory and defeat in the first and the best of victories, the lowest and the worst of defeats, which each man gains or sustains at the hands, not of another, but himself. This shows that there is a war against ourselves going on in every individual of us. Oh, God. One of my other favorite verses, chapters, Romans 7, talks about the inward man, right? Here's this inward thing in me that, I don't want to do those things, but I find myself doing those bad things, even though I want to do good things. I can't do good things sometimes. So, oh, wretched man that I am, who will save me from this? That's Romans 7 talking about the inward man. But I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin, which is in my members. Do you guys still want to continue being Christmas Christians? Or do you want to continue practicing Roman mythology? Because that's what you're at now. You can't deny this anymore. For all you Christians or, camp believers who believe really thoroughly on Paul, bro, I am destroying Paul. Giving you a very good glimpse of where he was saying what he was saying. You can't say this is biblical. Then he says, case number 6. Plato gives a vivid description of those gluttonous and interpret souls whose belly was their God in Plato's work called The Republic. Paul says in Philippians, whose end is destruction, whose God is their belly, and whose glory is in their shame, who mind things early. Philippians 3:19. I do not have a reference for that. I cannot go back 3:19 to an Old Testament verse that says, yeah, he did say that. Where? None of these relate to what he's talking about. Long verse. You could read it. You'll see it. It's like they'll mention a word, but it's not a precept. So again, remember what they say, give me Isaiah 28:9, Doc. Precept upon precept, line upon line. Here a little, there a little. No, this is Plato, bro. You might as well call Paul Plato, bro. The epistles of Plato. You might as well say that. Plato says, now if death is like this, I say that to die is gain. Oh, God. Philippians 1:21. And you guys that believe in it, like believe in the Bible, right? If you study it, you know this is probably bothering you, as it should. It should bother you. And it's okay. If you believe in the Most High, then this should not be a problem. If you don't believe in the Most High, and you believe that this gentleman was God in the first place, well, you already done fucked up. Philippians 1:21, for we live in Christ and die again. No, that's not the one I'm looking for. Philippians 1, for we live and die. Yeah, for we live and die again. Okay, so here it goes right here. All right, so check this out. And we die again, okay? Where's the precept in the Old Testament? Who the fuck told Paul to say this? Who told Paul to say this? Didn't we read? I mean, don't we know Deuteronomy 4:2? It clearly says, ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall you diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you. Paul, he's adding to the word. Where do you? No one ever said this. Case number 8. Let me see. The hour of departure has arrived, and we go our ways. I to die and you to live. Which is better? God only knows. 2 Timothy 2:4-6. I am now ready to be offered, and the time of my departure is at hand to be with Christ, which is far better. Who told him to say that? Who told him to say that? Where is the Old Testament precept? Like not the time is at hand. Not the time is at hand. Don't give me that. And the Lord Moses, behold, the day approaches, I must die. Call Joseph and present. Yeah, but look at the way he says it. I fought a good fight. I'm ready to die. Paul versus Socrates. Sheesh, it's getting better, bro. Socrates says, for my part, as I went away, I reasoned with regards to myself. I'm wiser than this human being, for probably neither of us know anything noble or good. But he supposes he knows something when he does not know, while I, just as I do not know, do not even suppose that I do. I am likely to be a little bit wiser than he in this very thing. That whatever I do not know, I do not even suppose I know. It's 1 Corinthians 8:2. If any man think himself anything, he knoweth nothing as he ought to know. Basically, much more simplified. 1 Corinthians 8:2. Where is the precept to that? Where did Jesus tell you to say stuff like this? Remember, keep in mind, we're talking about adding to or taking away from the word. And again, it's the way the statements are made. Socrates says this about self-governed. Whose state is most, Socrates said that the best governed city is one whose state is most like that of an individual man. For example, if the finger of one of us is wounded, the entire community of bodily connection stretches to the soul for integration. The dominant part is made aware, and all of it feels the pain as a whole. Paul says in Corinthians 12:25 that there should be no schisms in the body, but that the members should have the same care for one another. And whether one member suffers, all the members suffer with it. And one member is honored, and all the members rejoice with it. Oh, come on, bro. Let's take a pause for a moment. Oh, come on. Hey, family. Events that were military campaigns from Titus Fabius against the Hebrews rebelled. Hell yeah, dude. We're going to get into that. But I'm really savoring on this right now. Dude, I'm literally, that's what I was waiting to show y'all. Because if you think this is good, wait till I show you what I found about this other character. Okay, Socrates case number 3. Socrates says, to begin with, our several natures are not all alike but different. One man is naturally fitted for one task and another for another. Romans 12:4. For as we have many members in one body, all members have not the same office. Romans 12:4. And it's like, yeah, it's nice to read these things. But if you really believe what you're saying, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little, right? So then you wonder and you ask, okay, where did Paul get that? You know, where did Paul get that? Like, where? If we have many members, like where? See? No Old Testament reference. If Jesus taught him everything that he's been saying in the epistles, and Jesus taught of the Old Testament, because obviously Matthew, Luke, and John, and Mark weren't written yet, where the fuck is he getting this up from? And you're like, holy shit, fucking Paul was a Stoic. Yeah, he was a total Stoic. Socrates asked Pythagoras, is virtue a single whole, and are justice and self-control and holiness part of it? As the part of a face are parts, mouth, nose, eyes and ears? Socrates then probes into the metaphor further by asking Pythagoras if they agree that each part serves a different purpose. Just as the features of a face do, the part make the whole, but each serve a different purpose. The eye is not like the ear, nor has it in the same function. And Paul talks about that in Corinthians. Talks about the single organ, all of that. 1 Corinthians 12:14. All right, I'll show you. Paul, 1 Corinthians 12:14. Oh, sorry. 1 Corinthians 12:14. It says, now there are diversities of gifts, but the same the Spirit. No Old Testament reference. No Old Testament reference. No Old Testament reference. And it could go on and on and on. Here, I'll show you. Oh, shit. Sorry. 14, dummy. My bad, family. 12:14. 14 way. For the body is not one member, but many. No Old Testament. If the foot shall say this, if the ear shall say that, if the whole body, blah, blah, blah. You see what I mean? It's a conversation that Socrates was having with Pythagoras.
Who are you?
For a few more, then we're going to move on. All right. Paul versus Seneca, case 1. Seneca, one of the most important, prominent temporary representatives of Stoicism, wrote, the whole world is the temple of the immortal God. And temples are not to be built to God, but of stones piled on high. He must be consecrated in the heart of every man. Paul, Acts 17:24, God dwelleth not in temples made with hands. Seneca put the same truth in this form. God wants not ministers. How so? He himself ministered to the human race. Paul says in Acts 17:25, the next verse, neither is God served by man's hands as though he needed anything, seeing he himself giveth to all life and breatheth all things. So let's go and cross-reference Acts 17:24 and 25. Because you're supposed to do this. I don't know if any of you guys know this. You are literally supposed to do this. It's your job if you believe this book. Where's the Old Testament reference? None. No, it doesn't. That's not even apply. It doesn't even apply. Neither is worship. You see, so these two verses that Paul uses, or it's printed and added to the Bible as an epistle, are actual statements that Seneca made. Who is Seneca? Roman philosopher. Was a Roman Stoic philosopher, statesman, and dramatist, renowned for his moral writings and roles as a tutor and advisor to Emperor Nero. And when was that? In 4 BC, supposedly around the time of Jesus. Let's see. How far can we go? Oh, no. We're almost done. Let's go through this. We're almost done. Let's see. This one. Case 3. This one. Case 3. Seneca says, we are members of the vast body. Nature made us. Well, we already know we debunked that shit. So let's go to case 4. 17. Let's see. God is at hand everywhere and to all men. God is near thee. He is with thee. He is within. Paul says, God is not far from each one of us, for in him we live, move, and have our beings. Acts 17. Acts 17, 27 and 18. What the hell? Okay, let's continue. Last one. No, 2 more. Paul versus Seneca. Okay? Seneca wrote, thou shalt not form him of liver and gold. A true likeness of God cannot be molded of his material. Paul, Acts 17:29. Being then the offspring of God, we ought not to think the Godhead is like unto gold or silver or stone, graven by art or devices of men. Acts 17:29. Can we reference that? No. No. Hey, what? Why is it even there? All right. Paul versus Aristotle. Aristotle's saying of men eminent for wisdom and virtue. It says, against such there is no law, for they themselves are the law. Oh, shit.
Where are you?
Galatians 5:23. Gentleness, self-control, against such there is no law. Let's check it. Galatians 5:23. Who is telling Paul to say these things? If Jesus was the one that showed up to his face, told him to stop kicking the pricks, right? He said, yo, stop, bro. I'm going to teach you all things. Just to let y'all know, I mean, look, I think it's, look, check this out. This is crazy, dude. I think it's here. Verse 12. This is where this Paul guy who was taught by Jesus, right? Who is also a propaganda of Plato, Socrates, Seneca, Aristotle, and all that shit, right? He says this, Galatians 5:12, I wish that everyone who is upsetting you would not only get circumcised, but cut off much more. Damn. Not only make you a eunuch, bro, like straight castrate your ass. Like te quita los huevos y la salchicha.